I was wondering why he started turning gray and his teeth were rotting, and he started talking like this.
It was a little off-putting, but it really worked.
It was the priest. Smeagol's is innocent.
You do a really good Jar Jar Binks. Like that is really phenomenal. Like that's actually spot on. Good morning.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be such a
doozy
roller coaster of a pod. I was expecting this was supposed to be so fun.
I know.
This one was supposed to be so fun.
And instead we're announcing our retirement from life.
So are some other people apparently.
What? Oh.
No, I'm just being
okay.
I'm being negative.
Good. I was worried you were getting too optimistic.
The only good thing that came out in the last couple weeks was the Supergirl trailers. The only good thing that was released. Oh my goodness.
Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we might as well dive into this. All right. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 24 of Screenwoven, your hub for all things stories. I'm Chris, this is Daniel,
hey.
And we have just a loaded show today.
It's more loaded than our potatoes.
Way more. And tastes worse.
Sadly true.
And not just because this. I was just telling him, you know, this was supposed to be such a fun episode. Anyone who tuned in for the last one knows we've been like anticipating some of the stuff we're going to talk about in this one for a while. And the time has come. And sadly, I just don't think we're getting what I think either of us thought we were going to get. All that to say, I think there's going to be some interesting dialogue going on for the things we discuss. I'm not completely... I've been able to sit with most of this stuff now for a couple days before we recorded, so my mind is in a different place than it was like when I first saw or found out or whatever about some of these things. But I do have things to say about just about all of it on both ends of the spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
So with that being said, I guess I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. Today, going to be talking about Daniel and I watched Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out movie. Finally hit Netflix, and we were able to sit down and watch that. We're going to talk about our thoughts on that. We finally got our first official Doomsday teaser that was not AI, even though when it leaked a few days before it actually came out, everyone thought it was AI, and I was kind of hoping...
Everyone was praying it was AI. That's what it was.
Well, not everyone, surprisingly, but I mean, I was one of them. I really was kind of hoping it was fake, but it's not, so we're going to talk about that. We got a leaked Spider-Man trailer. We got a leaked Thor teaser for Doomsday. We've got...
Oh, that was real? I thought that was AI.
Yep, that's real too.
Is it the one where he sees Loki in the...
No.
Okay, then I didn't see it.
I don't know if any of the visual versions of the Thor one have been legit. There's one that I think is legit that kind of matches the dialogue you hear in it. But other than that, I'm not sure. There's been a lot of fake versions of the Thor one.
Okay.
But so we got that. We got Spider-Man. We got Supergirl. That one's official. That one was officially released. And then, you know, just a little fun one I just showed Daniel. I saw yesterday this trailer for Sheep Detectives, a new movie with Hugh Jackman in it, which looks kind of interesting and funny. So we might touch on that briefly. But I think we all kind of know where the majority of our conversation is going to land today in a couple different spots. So honestly, leading up to this, I thought for sure we would hit trailers first and then talk about the movie, because I just thought there'd be a whole lot more to talk about the movie than like trailers. But I feel like I have so much more to say about the trailers that I think we should just hit the movie first.
Okay.
If that's cool with you, unless you have a reason that you'd want to maybe flip it.
Other than I've wanted to be in charge this whole time.
Who says you're not? I'm defecting to you.
You're not defective.
Yeah, tell my wife. Okay. Yeah. Let's. That was a joke. It was a joke. So let's.
It's funny because it's true.
It's funny because it's true. Let's talk a movie. So,
right.
Anyone who's been listening to this podcast for like most or all of its run knows that I am a big murder mystery fan. In particular, a huge fan of Knives Out, that series, and was very, very excited when I found out that we were getting a new one in that line, in Wake Up Dead Man, which, like Glass Onion, hit select theaters for a weekend at around, I think, the week of Thanksgiving, and then after a week or so spread from that, it hit Netflix to be a Netflix exclusive. Sadly, with Glass Onion, I was able to go catch that in theaters. It hit like the Regals, the AMCs, it hit those. This one, for some reason, they did not do that. They put them in much smaller chains. I would have had to go out of state to see it. South Carolina, at least the area of South Carolina that we're in, doesn't have a lot of like smaller theaters, so you pretty much have a couple AMC options, a couple Regal options, and then that's it. So was not able to see it in theaters. Would have liked to. This definitely would have been one that I think, just the cinematography, the loaded cast, great acting, just a movie full of twists and turns, great score. I just thought all of it deserved to be seen on the big screen. I just hope, all I could say is I hope Netflix is treating Rian Johnson well for him to have given up the fact that these, in my opinion, pretty solid films are not getting the theatrical run that I think they deserve, other than the first one. So, that being said, if you don't know, kind of the premise of the film, a head priest. So we'll start with this. It's very Catholic heavy movie. I'm not Catholic. I'm not going to claim to know a lot about Catholicism, so I might misspeak on some things or whatever. It's not intentional. I'm not overly familiar with Catholicism, but the, I guess, head priest or whatever you would call it, played by Josh Brolin, is murdered in his church during a service in kind of a cliche like lock room scenario from a lot of classic murder mysteries. And you've got your classic group of suspect, misfit, like borderline parody of, cliche type characters, all played by pretty recognizable faces. And then Q, our lead, really didn't feel like the lead. Felt more like a co-lead in this one. Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc.
I don't think he's considered the lead in any of the movies.
Really?
Yeah, he's not the lead character. By what you would consider a storytelling, like, mechanic, like, he's the guide. He's like Yoda, not Luke. In the first one, I forget her name, Ana de Armas' character.
Marta Cabrera.
Yeah, she's the protagonist.
Yeah.
I think in the second one it would be Ed Norton, but I don't remember enough about it.
I would say in the second one, if it's anyone, it's, and I forget her name, but it's the one who played the twin sister of the girl who was like the friend to everyone in the group that died, but like,
I don't remember enough about the movie to remember who that is. I remember that I liked it a lot, but yeah. And then in this one, the the boxer turned priest.
Yeah.
He's the protagonist.
That's fair. I never really thought of it like that. I guess just for me, like when you got your detective show or movie or whatever, I guess I just always assume that person's the lead just because they're like the title character in a way. I mean, these are not called like Benoit Blanc, like Sherlock Holmes stuff. It's called Sherlock Holmes. And I get what you mean. You spend a lot of that time, and really a lot of your POV is from a different character. So that's fair. But yeah, so he shows up at this church and, hijinks ensue. We get a murder mystery. Like I said, lots of twists and turns in this one, I thought.
Yeah, a lot of twists.
I would say probably more than Knives Out. Glass Onion, I don't remember having a lot of twists in it. Glass Onion to me really excelled in a thing that I think Knives Out and Wake Up Dead Man both do, but they kind of each have their things, right? Like to me, Knives Out excelled in like the atmosphere that the movie created, just like this giant obnoxious manor out on like the countryside and just like
I'm sorry. I don't mean
No, go ahead. Please.
I thought the third one did better at that, actually.
Really?
Because I remember you mentioning that when we talked about these movies before, that was one of the things you loved about the first one. The theme felt like, it was, a really close second. I'm not saying, they both do this very well, but this one I felt it even more. That little Catholic church in this town, the Gothic architecture and all the stuff, the way that they did the lighting, like when he would talk and stuff, it all felt very. Yeah,
that's a fair point. I think the other thing
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't want to forget to ask you this.
You're good.
Did you catch how whenever they were introducing, he was telling what's the detective's name? LeBlanc.
Benoit Blanc.
Benoit Blanc. Okay. Whenever he's like telling him about all of the characters, and then he tells him about the lady who has the kid she was like forced to raise.
Yeah.
When he's talking about her, and then it shifts to him, she like looks this way, and there's a breeze behind her that blows in that same direction. I don't know if you caught that. It was behind her in the window to the outside because she was in the kitchen. Like she looks that way in a breeze. It was very ominous, and I was like, "Wow, that's kind of cool." There was a lot of that type of stuff in this movie.
No, I did not catch that, but that is a good catch. I told you the other night I'm gonna have to rewatch that for sure.
Yeah. Because by the time y'all were pointing out the light thing, I was thinking that's like the fourth thing like this I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of which, by the way, that church that I honestly thought, real quick, I know we're kind of still setting stuff up, but like, has anyone ever experienced, you're just like sitting in a room on like a bright day, and then all of a sudden like a cloud passes in front of the sun and it gets just dark for a minute. And then they did it so like naturally that I really thought, I was like, wow, they must be really filming on a set, and they just like used this take because of the drastic shift. Like it just worked for them. The church was on a soundstage. It was a practical set built on a soundstage.
Wow.
So they were controlling the light the whole time.
That is great practical effects.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that was.
It looked fantastic.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So for me, I would say Knives Out, the first one. And by the way, I just thought of this while you were talking. We're going to throw this out there. Definitely spoilers will be brought up for all three of these films. So if you haven't seen them and you care about that and you want to go into them blind, which I would recommend, they're great films and they're fun to kind of figure out as you go. Please take a break, go watch them, come back. I think we're going to have a fun discussion about it.
Or listen to this podcast, then go watch it with your friends, and then predict what happens the whole time.
Actually, that's a better idea.
Yeah.
Bet them money.
That's
that
right.
You can figure out who did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But yeah, so spoiler warning. I think Knives Out, the first one, really excelled in atmosphere, and the cast, to me, really gelled the best, I think. Glass Onion really, really did a lot of that hiding things in plain sight. Not really camera work, because it wasn't like camera tricks. It was just really well choreographed things that he puts right in front of your face, and if you blink, you miss it, and you always miss it. And I guess for me, that really adds to the rewatchability of it, because I hear about him, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta go see that, like, in the thing. You go back and try and catch it. So that, I think it really excelled in that. This one, I think, really excelled in the keeping you on the edge of your seat. I'll put it like this. By the end of this movie, I didn't think it could have been more obvious who the actual person behind it was, the main person. Because she was kind of like evil feeling the whole time. But they did such a good job of like misdirecting, and like the motives were good everywhere, and the way the story was told. Like, they even misdirect you right off the rip, because the movie starts, you're hearing a voiceover, but you see words on a paper. You know you're reading like a letter of some sort. You assume Benoit Blanc is reading a letter that's been like sent to him to get him to come to this case. And it's like 35 minutes into the movie, you find out that, like, no, he's been there from the beginning of this whole thing, because I forget his character's name, but Lakeith Stayfield, the detective from the first movie, gave the detective in this one, played by Mila Kunis, gave her Benoit Blanc's phone number. He's been there from the beginning. The letter he's reading is something he told the priest to do, to like recollect all the events and activities that led up to where they're at right now. So just the framing of the story, the misdirections, the twists, I thought this one really excelled at that in a way that the other two did, but didn't do quite as, to this level. So with that being said, I kind of want to know your thoughts on, like, where do you rank these? Like, how do you have them stacked?
That's really hard, because I liked them all for different reasons.
Yeah, me too.
I would say just as far as like a well-written story and like really immersive, this one had me the most locked in of any of them, I think.
That's fair.
Because I had a lot that I didn't like about this movie, and I was like angry with myself that I liked it so much, because it was told so well, and there's so much stuff that pulled me out of it that I was just like, oh, God, this stupid stuff. But
which we'll talk on.
Sure, yeah. But there was that stuff, but despite that, the storytelling and the acting was so good.
Yeah.
That I was just like, I was locked in the whole time. Like, I would get pulled out and sucked right back in. But so I have to say, this one probably ranks as the top of the list for me on as far as that's concerned.
Wow.
And then Knives Out, and then Glass Onion. Then I don't know. It's hard. Glass Onion and Knives Out are kind of tied. I mean, I really thought Glass Onion was just as good.
I got to say, I think you at some point could benefit from a rewatch of both.
I've already rewatched Knives Out recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I think of Glass Onion just because I feel like when we've talked about it recently, like you're fuzzy on certain parts, and I'm the same way, because so much happens in these.
Yeah.
I mean, you're bombarded with information from the beginning till you find out at the end, like it kind of gets pieced together for you, which is something else I wanted to talk about. But me personally, after we watched Wake Up Dead Man, I told you that night, I was like, well, I'm gonna have to rewatch Knives Out now. And I actually did last night. But anyway, yeah, I guess asking how they stacked up was the wrong question. I was more you answered it how I was asking, but I was more asking like kind of what I was saying. I wanted your take on what does each one do the best to you that you like or whatever. But
this one, the atmosphere, the filming, the lighting thing that people listening are probably confused as what we're talking about with the lighting thing, but we'll explain that in a little bit. But like I talked about with well, I guess I can just explain it now. Like I talked about with she looked the other way and the wind blew the same way she looked. And the lighting thing we were talking about is there's this they shifted the lighting according to the tone of the dialogue and like what was happening in the story,
and it never felt jarring.
No, it felt like you said, like a cloud was moving, but it was just like, wow, that's like obviously very symbolic. And there's this one time in particular when Benoit Blanc is asking this priest about
his beliefs.
Yeah, pretty much his just beliefs, and it starts out kind of melancholy, and then he gets more hopeful as he speaks. And the lighting shifts in the window behind him where like a cloud moves away and it fills the whole sanctuary with light. Yeah. Like super warm light. And there was a lot of that symbolic type imagery in this movie that was really cool, even though I disagreed with the messaging. It was with a lot
some of it. Not all of it. Some of it
almost all of it.
I know a lot of it. I would say probably most of it, but
99%.
There was some good things in there. I say that because of this. I think I think it'd be impossible for Daniel and I, of all people. We've talked on here before. We're both Christian. I think it would be impossible for us to talk about a movie that has this much religious symbolism, implication, and not even like metaphor, like on a metaphoric level, but just a straight up blatant literal level of religion. I mean, they're in a Catholic church the whole time. I think it would be impossible for us to discuss this without kind of touching on that. I don't want it to be like the focus of it because that's easy to get off track, but it has to be touched on, I think. Now, that being said, my assumption going into this, and it's nothing on Rian Johnson's part, it's more just Hollywood in general, how they typically portray religion of any kind. I thought that kind of the message by the end was going to end up being, hey, religion's not really the way. It doesn't help. It doesn't give you anything, hope or closure or any of these things. It doesn't offer that. There's another way. Especially like at the beginning, like when they're talking about he was a boxer and he was this and he's went from fighting to this, and I thought that like he was talking about, going from like fighting to love, and I thought that the message was going to end up being that, hey, love, it doesn't do anything. Like this world doesn't need that, and I thought that was going to be kind of the whole thing. The way they ended up doing it, I understand where like you're probably going to have your part. I'll let you say your part on it, but I understand where you probably disagreed with a lot of that. But I did at least like that he was still the good guy the whole time. Like the phone call scene when he calls the lady to get the information about the equipment, and it kind of starts out really funny. Like he's trying to just ask a simple question. This lady just keeps talking over him. And she's just like a chatty Cathy. And then she just like stops and gets real serious. And she, all of a sudden, this guy she's never met, and honestly, she's in this town. We learn in this movie that like everyone in this town does not like this church. For them, like the only people that come to this church that aren't the regular members are like newcomers to the town who are just like coming through or like brand new to moving there or whatever, and they give it a shot and they immediately leave because the what's his name, Monsignor, is that how you say it?
I don't remember.
I think it's Monsignor. Josh Brolin's character is like so aggressive and so hateful that, and he like targets new people that they leave. And so this lady has to know this, that, that this guy is at this church or whatever. But even at that, she just stops and like breaks down and starts talking about her mom is sick and she's feeling alone and she's scared and she doesn't know what to do, and is just asking him if he can pray for her and with her. And then even at that, they showed it. And then even at that, like I was shocked when they actually said like Jesus's name in the movie. Like you don't often hear Jesus in a lot of shows and movies. You hear God a lot, but I feel like God could be, a lot of people can take that term and like apply it to a lot of other things. But like Jesus is kind of it's a one of one thing. And I was shocked at a lot of what they did on the good side of things. I'm not saying I had no disagreements with some of the stuff I saw too. And if you want to we'll kind of sandwich it, because I don't want people to think that we're like straight up bashing the movie for this, but I think it's fine that you I think it's fine to disagree with something and let it just be its thing. Like I can disagree with the movie and still say it was a good movie.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
So that's why I say we said some good about it. Let's touch on what we didn't like, and then we'll kind of finish it with maybe a couple other things that we thought it did well, and then we'll kind of move on from there. But
sure.
So I'm gonna let you kind of take over and say your piece on, because I know I could tell that night you had some feel. I know you didn't want to say it because we were saving it, but.
Yeah, I don't really want to go on a huge rant on this podcast about it necessarily, but I mean, the whole messaging to me was like radically immoral and bad, and I did not like that he was the good. I was actually hoping he did it, because I thought maybe if he did it, they could be like, they ended it in this. First off, Benoit Blanc never changes his mind on religion. He's like hates religion because it's homophobic and all this stuff, and which is, they never address that's an issue. And like the main guy almost seems to kind of agree with him, because they paint the main, not the protagonist, I mean, they paint the head priest guy, Wicks, I forget his
Monsignor
Wicks. They paint him as this horribly hateful dude because he's politically on the right. That's pretty much his whole character. And they get this GOP candidate guy who is trying to create a political career and using this guy who's super hateful to boost his political platform. It was so obviously politically charged. I hate that kind of stuff. You know, I don't care if you have a Republican candidate in your story, or if you have even a guy who maybe leans too far on the right, but it was so pointed at, like, if you follow the right at all politically, you're a hateful, evil bigot. And the only religion we will accept, like, this is the moral of the story, is religion that agrees with the left politically. That's pretty much what it, because that guy who ended up being like, you know, first off, Benoit Blanc never changed his mind on religion. He's like the hero in all the stories. You know, it was never challenged, any of the stuff he said about religion. And
well, I disagree with that.
It was never challenged in a way that made it actually, like, you know, it was challenged in a sense that, like, yeah, we see where you're coming from, but there maybe is a place for it for some people. It was never pointed as like, no, actually, you're wrong. And plus, it's also weird because I'm not Catholic, and I have a lot of disagreements with the way Catholics approach religion. So, you know, in some sense, I see why people feel that way about Catholicism. But the guy's whole shtick the whole time, the main protagonist, was Jesus came to serve the world. You know, not to change it or whatever.
Yeah, he says that a few times.
He's got he kind of twists that word serve as to be like, he basically just wanted to hold hands with everyone in the world. He didn't come to, one of the first things he said when he was being interviewed by his priests after he punched another priest because he was out of line or something. One of the things he said is Christ didn't come to, like, attack the world. He came to help it, something like that. I don't remember. And there's a scripture where Jesus literally says, I have not come to bring peace, but to bring a sword, and to divide a father against his mother and a father against his son and a mother against her daughter. So, like, and I wouldn't care if they were showing someone who had that perspective in the story, but they pointed it as like, this is the good guy. This is the way we should all be heading. That there was that clear moral push behind the movie. Is basically there was an agenda, and I hate watching stories with agendas. Even as a person who writes stories, and I am a Christian, like, my stories are inspired by my beliefs, but I don't have an agenda. I'm not trying to, like, push some kind of idea on people.
Yeah.
You know, and I've watched movies and TV shows and read books by people who have different beliefs than I do, who you can tell their beliefs kind of inspired the story, but it didn't feel pushed on me. It didn't feel like it was, it felt like they were writing it just because they love storytelling.
Yeah.
And this is a tough one because it's a very well-written story. I mean, the filming, the acting, all of the characters are unique and have their own, it's like you said, it's almost like a parody how cliche these characters are, but it works. And the whole
Well, it's kind of all three of the movies do that.
That's very true.
And go ahead.
One last thing I forgot to mention about a storytelling thing I actually didn't like is at the very end, the old lady, we find out she did it. Big spoilers. I didn't like how she just like Benoit Blanc just like stopped talking and was like, I want to give you a chance to do it of your own free will, and then she just said everything that I don't know. I didn't like the way, because there was no leading up to her character changing in that regard at all.
Well,
she just like confesses everything, and that seemed kind of undeserved. I don't know.
So my retort to that, and I have a lot of response. Oh man. He knew that she was dying. I mean, he in the middle of her confessing, he keeps kind of interjecting.
I actually forgot about that. That changes everything.
And he was trying to hurry and let
her confess.
Whatever the guy's name was.
I know, I can't remember his name either.
I'm so sorry. He did such a good. Matter of fact, I'm going to Google it. Judd, Father Judd, and I don't know the actor's name, but he was great, and he looks like a younger dude. I know he's been in some other stuff because I watched a video breakdown of this movie just to see if there was anything else that maybe we didn't catch, and I was prepping for this, but he was in another show. I can't remember what it was, but he did a really good job, and I hope to see him in more stuff. I think he was a very likable protagonist, even for all the things that we disagree with the writing. He was great. To me, kind of remind me a lot of like what we talked about with Corn Sweat Superman. Mm-hmm. He kind of has some of those qualities, just like just a real humble, like down to earth dude who's like just trying to, I guess, see the best in people.
A bleeding heart loser. No, I'm just kidding. No, despite my disagreements with him, he was very likable.
He was. And again, back to the twists and turns, not to derail from what I was just saying, but there were times I thought he might have done it.
Yeah, same here.
Like, he really he towed the line of like nervous enough to maybe have been guilty. And I was like, oh, are we going to get another Knives Out situation where like he did kind of do it, but like didn't really do it? But then there were times I was like, there's no way he did it. Like, he's beating himself up that this guy's dead and he hated him. Anyway, back to what I was saying. In the confession, and again, this is huge spoiler stuff. This is the end of the movie, but in the confession, basically, Benoit gets up there to do his whole normal spiel, the thing that every mystery movie needs, where the detective like puts it all together for the audience. Well, the dumb members like me who didn't piece it together. Daniel knew what was coming.
I'm terrible at these.
I'm terrible at it.
I have no idea.
I used to try and figure, like in the Scooby-Doo cartoons, who did it. I was always wrong. But he gets up on the stage because basically Judd is about to turn himself in. He's about to turn himself into the police, and all the other suspects that are still alive are gathered at the church. The police are there. Benoit's there. Judd's there. And before he can do his confession, Benoit plays a little Phantom of the Opera lick on the organ, which was cool. Yeah. And he kind of starts, like Daniel was saying, to do his final big spiel. And then back to us talking about the symbolic lighting. Yeah. The church like fills with that flood of really warm light, and he stops and he recalls a conversation that he had with Judd earlier in the movie about Saul on the road to Damascus, and he stops himself. And I will say, I agree with you that he was never outright challenged on his beliefs on religion, like in a very... He kind of was, but it was soft. There was one he was outright challenged on it, but it was soft and it was left open-ended. It wasn't solved, and that was their first conversation in the church when he first gets there. And we were talking about the lighting kept shifting. Like when he would talk, it would get really cold and like blue in there, and then when it shifted back to Judd and he started kind of bringing hope back into the conversation, it kind of got warm again and brightened up. Judd was directly challenging his belief on religion and saying, like,
I disagree, but
well, he said that all of these things, these rituals, these symbols that you have in here, it's all I forget what he said, but essentially called it like it's showmanship to sell a lie, a story.
That's what LeBlanc said.
That's what, yeah. And when it went back to Judd, he was saying that you're right. There are a lot of rituals and symbols and things like that, but he's like, but are they to sell a lie, or do they resonate with something deep inside of all of us that's like intensely true, or some word true? I think it was like intensely, something to that effect.
I guess I could give you that was a soft challenge.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't. They didn't argue. It wasn't, and they didn't hover on it very long. It was, he said his point, he countered it, and they left it open. However, I do think it laid groundwork for, you see things later in the movie that's like, okay, the phone call thing. Benoit was like hurrying him up. He's like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And he couldn't even hear what the lady was saying about her mom. He could just see Judd's reaction, his body language, his facial expression, and hear the tone in his voice change when she started talking about her mother. And we literally cut to where it was like daytime when they first started, and then they cut, like do a hard jump cut to nighttime. Benoit is still sitting in the office, and Judd's been out in the like main, I guess, like living room area of that little house they have. And he kind of slowly opens the door, and Judd's out there praying, finishing up praying on the phone with this woman. And the implication is they've been talking for hours at this point. And you would think that the man who just stood in that church some scenes earlier and said all these things about religion and how little he clearly values it, would have still been like, hey, we don't have time for this right now. We're trying to solve this murder. But I think he saw something in that moment. I don't think he would even, I can't explain it. I don't even think he could, like his character could. But I think the implication was that he knew that was an important thing that needed to happen for both of them, the woman and Judd. Alluding to, back to you talking about at the end when he lets, what's her name? Margaret, something? The old lady.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
Come in and confess. He knew she was dying. He knew she took the propabarbital or whatever, the poison. And he knew that for her, she needed to confess before she died. And because of what we do know of her character, if there's one thing you can say for her character throughout this movie, is she was devoutly Catholic, to a fault almost. And he knew that Judd needed to take this next step and like take her confession and kind of guide her through to death or whatever. And again, I don't think at the beginning of the movie he would have done that. I think at the beginning of the movie, before he went through all this with Judd, I think he would have just done his normal thing, you know. It's, again, I say all that to say it's soft. I'm not arguing that it was not blatant. It was not nearly as blatant as some of the things countering a lot of that they put in the movie. But I do think there were things there. And Rian Johnson he's really known for putting things in these movies that like you have to go back and watch, or you have to catch, or you have to kind of dig for a little bit. And that doesn't just go for like the arcs of the character, but like literal things for the mysteries and everything. Like that's what he does in these movies. So that's why I give him that. I wouldn't give just any movie that, but I know that stuff was there for a reason, is why I say it, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Except for at the very end, the Father Judd invites him to mass again, LeBlanc.
Yeah.
And I thought at this moment they're gonna be like, oh, are gonna have some like LeBlanc, like, oh, he's gonna convert, but it's gonna be to this mushy gushy version of Christianity that isn't real. and he still was like, "Oh no, I'm not coming to this thing."
Yeah,
which felt to me like they were cementing the idea that Wall Blanc is.
Well, I think to be honest,
and it's such a strange dichotomy, for lack of a better word, because it's like on the one hand, Father Judd's version of Christianity is not Christianity, but they're portraying it to be like, if you're going to do Christianity, you should just do it this way. And then Blanc's character is like got a skewed perspective on. So it's really, no matter what they had done with him, it would have been a weird messaging.
Well, I'll say this too. I mean, clearly, Benoit Blanc is just just another version of a Sherlock Holmes.
Sure.
A doctor, nice. A Dr. House. He's all these versions of this same character, which all came from Sherlock Holmes. They all have kind of had that in common. They have this, what's the word? I'm not pessimist. They have, oh my gosh,
a bleak outlook on life.
Kind of. That's not the word, but yes, they have this bleak, very like sterile, science-based, logic-based, because that's how their brains work. They have, everything has to make sense to them. They have to be able to piece it together, or it just isn't. That's how they solve these mysteries, is because normal people in these stories, in this one, for example, they're like, oh my gosh, Wicks came back from the dead. And he's like, no, he didn't. And that's how he can solve, Sherlock Holmes has the famous thing about like the I forget like the name of it, but like the bride who her ghost is going around killing people because her husband cheated on her, but everyone in the street saw her blow her brains out and all this, like, not really. Like, they're able to overlook what they believe to be like the supernatural to see through it to like the facts and the logic or whatever. That being said, I think that's like a really sad way to live life, to think that there is nothing after this. But for their character, it is constant, it is consistent, it makes sense. And to me, it is a lot more realistic that at the end of the movie, I say realistic, not only to like that kind of character, but like even real people. I have friends, like close friends, who I've had kind of intense, like intimate, deep conversations with regarding religion. And, at the end of it, if I were to be like, yeah, so you should come to church with me Sunday, they probably wouldn't be like, yeah, absolutely. Like, real people don't typically jump in the pool like that. I'm not saying some don't or haven't, saying typically, like, people I've come in contact with haven't. So I think that's realistic, that he wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, like I went through this one thing, so I'm going to come to mass. But I still think that some seeds were planted.
That's a kind of an optimistic outlook, but yeah, technically that's realistic.
I am an optimist.
Technically that's realistic, but this was woven into a story for the purposes of trying to tell you something. Like, they kind of set it up almost like, oh, this might be a conversion story for Wall Blanc's character, and how he actually, because the way stories typically go is by the end of it, the character learns something new and becomes a different person, which of course in these stories, Wall Blanc isn't that person. He's the guide. The guide is usually the one who's cemented in their beliefs and stuff.
Right.
And they're helping the hero figure out who they're going to be. So, but the guide can change their perspective too, and they kind of set it up to be like, maybe he's going to learn something from having come here and talked with this Catholic priest. And then it seemed like they went out of their way to be like, he's like, nah, religion's not for me.
What, do you think the door opened?
I thought I heard the door open.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean,
spooky.
Again, look.
I mean, we don't need to like.
I was gonna say
out here.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's leave this house.
Yeah, we'll see y'all later.
I get what you're saying. I mean, I can give it to you. I'm just telling you. The way I see it.
And I'm you too. Like, I don't think your point of view on it is wrong. I mean, I think I lean more to what you're saying, but just to play some devil's advocate and to also.
Ironic, you're siding with the devil here.
Foreshadowing. There's 2 lamps.
Are you talking about the 2 lamps in Middle Earth that happened? I forget what they're called, from the elves, from Tolkien's elves, who saw the 2 lamps and then the 2 lamps got destroyed?
You know, it's actually really funny that you say that, because that actually might be a legitimate reference in this movie.
No.
You know why I say that?
The 2 lamps in Tolkien's Middle Earth?
There's another Lord of the Rings reference in the movie I was going to ask you if you caught.
What? No.
I only know this credit to New Rock Stars because they pointed it out. I was, again, prepping for this, watching their breakdown. Do you remember in the kind of, like, I forget what they're called. I'm blanking today on so many words. All the scenes cut together of Wicks doing his sermons.
Yeah.
And there's
he's like pushing people out and
yes,
stuff.
yeah. There's one where he says, "You shall not pass."
Oh, I did catch that.
Hang on, there's more. As a joke.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. As a joke, when he says you shall not pass, it hard cuts to him dead. He passed. It kept doing this thing that I loved, where
I didn't catch that
because he was writing. I haven't even said you're gonna flip in a second, but I want to explain. If you haven't seen it, or even if you have and maybe somehow didn't catch it, it kept doing this amazing thing where when the story would change from like how it's being told, like there are parts of it that are clearly being written in the letter. And then there's one part where they like show a video. So the thing you're seeing is actually a video and every time it would do this and like Judd would pick up the pen, like stop writing, it would hard cut to like to the present.
Yeah.
Or like it hard cut from the video when the video ended to they put the phone back down. Like it was so cool. Some of the editing choices that they made in this movie were so awesome. But this was one of them. He's in there giving his thing and he says, "You shall not pass." It hard cuts to him pass, which is already funny. In the movies that I've seen, when Gandalf is saying the "you shall not pass" thing to that creature, and then he has like the big fight with it, you think he dies, right?
Yeah.
What does he come back as?
Gandalf the White.
When they cut, he's in white.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the 2 lamps being such a big deal to the story might actually be another reference to that.
It could be. I doubt that because the 2 lamps thing it's not in the movies. It's not even in the original trilogy.
Oh, it's like deep lore?
Yeah, it's like part of the history of Middle Earth.
Never know.
Yeah, could be though.
I mean, he clearly knows Lord of the Rings stuff. So
I forget. I think they're called the Lights of the Valinor. I think that's what they're called. But anyway,
I mean, it is a little ironic that Tolkien had 2 lamps, and 2 lamps were a big deal to solving this murder.
Yeah.
So,
I honestly actually did notice the second lamp when he first started doing that thing, but I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, there's another lamp back there with the little double thing on it. And then as soon as he was like picking it up and when they're doing the reveal, I was like, how did I not? I even saw it. That was one thing I love about all 3 of these movies is when that's my favorite part of it, when it culminates and he starts explaining it and you pick up all the stuff you missed. It's like, how do the writers think of that stuff?
Which is exactly why I wanted to sandwich it this way, because I know we were going to have to talk about all the stuff he just puts in your face and then you catch. By the way, now I'm stretching a bit, but I mean, we have 2 possible Lord of the Rings references. I'm going to throw in a third. There was also a ring that was pretty important in solving this, because it kept showing Nat, the doctor, playing with his ring the whole time, and then that's how you identify him at the end.
I was wondering why he started turning gray and his teeth were rotting, and he started talking like this.
It was a little off-putting, but it really worked.
It was the priest. Smeagol is innocent.
You do a really good Jar Jar Binks. Like that is really phenomenal. Like that's actually spot on. Oh my gosh.
That was good.
Jedi you are. Luke.
See, that's a good Gandalf. You already.
No, but in all seriousness, yes, I do want to. So, okay, we get to the big reveal. and things are being explained. Again, I have to credit New Rockstars for a lot of this because I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch it. Had I was going to be looking for this stuff anyway, but it is there. I know for a fact because they pointed out. In the actual scene where he dies, like near the beginning of not, the explanation, there are things that you can catch that kind of tell you there's stuff going on. So first of all, he goes into his little closet or whatever, and all you see is Judd look over, and he kind of is like wobbling, and then you hear him fall. You do hear the metallic clink of what you find out is the flask.
Yeah.
If you look, when he falls, the devil head that you find out later was the fake one that Margaret, I'm going to say her name was Margaret, the old lady, sewed onto his thing that they think is a knife. You find out later that it wasn't, but if you look when he falls, it's pointed to the left. Like it's kind of looking this way.
Oh.
But then they walk up, and you said this while we were watching it. It hit you. You're like, oh yeah, Nat told him not to mess with it.
Yeah. Because
he did. He didn't want Judd to touch it. If he touched it, he would have realized, oh, this is not a knife. It's just sewn on the thing. They had already faked some blood spill by using like a remote with an RFID thing in it to make a little packet of fake blood in his, again, that was sewn into his, I don't know, whatever it's called, like robe thing, kind of explode and leak blood everywhere. If you watch in real time, when he falls and Judd's looking over there all concerned and it cuts to the crowd, you can see Nat putting that thing away in his pocket going, what happened? What's going on? You can see him hiding the remote. Then he goes up, and whenever, again, you find out, he pulls out the fake one and he takes out a real devil head knife and sticks it in. When the camera cuts back, now the head is looking this way. And in the movie, when Judd is writing this part down, is one of those times he picks the pen up and it hard cuts to him at the desk writing it. And it's almost like as if he now remembers this and he thinks it's weird that it was looking this way. But when they look back, because, by the way, everyone got distracted for a second because Margaret freaked out and fell into the cross and like knocked it down and she fell on the floor or whatever. And then when they look back is when Nat had stabbed the real knife in him and now the head is looking a different way. So all these little details were like right there for you to see that whole time. Another little detail, because I was wondering, I was like, how the heck did Benoit Blanc know that Margaret took the poison? She touches her lips a few times when he's starting to give his thing, and he knew from earlier that one of the things was that your lips would start to go like numb and stuff. So he saw that and was like, she poisoned herself. And he already knew she had something to do with it, so that's how he made all that connection.
Yeah. So I take back that little.
Yeah, no, yeah. You said that earlier. Yeah, that does change the whole bit of it.
Well, I spaced on. I remember that in the movie. Now I was like, oh, she poisoned herself, because I was thinking that when she was giving her spiel, I'm like, this is kind of lame.
I did too.
Then she poisoned herself, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, that it made. I thought the same. I was like, you're not even gonna let Benoit give the thing?
Know, yeah.
That's lame.
Yeah.
But no, again, Rian Johnson, for better or worse, is known for pulling the rug out, on your like expectations. He likes to,
like, for instance, we expected to have a good Star Wars movie, and you know what happened.
That is an example of where it didn't work. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the reason he's so good at these is because these movies are completely built. This whole genre is built on tropes, and his whole thing is, I twist tropes.
Yeah.
So it works perfectly. It's like a breath of fresh air in this zone. In Star Wars, when you've got established lore that like it's not tropes, it's lore.
Yeah.
And you try and twist the lore to surprise the viewers. They're like, no, wait a minute. That is not how that works.
Yeah, the Force is not with this one.
Yeah, the Force did not awaken. It asleep.
Dude, when Leia started flying through space,
You love that part. Admit it.
actually, that was the only part. Because when I told you I was in denial for like the whole first part of it.
Yeah.
Even when people were like talking about how horrible the movie was after we were, it had first come out, I was like, people are being too critical. It's not that bad. But even in that state of mind, I remember saying, I didn't get the flying through space thing.
Yeah.
That was weird. The Force can't stop you from dying in space, like, or help you fly. Like, what? So I remember saying, but that aside, it was okay. And then over time, I'm just like, okay, the movie sucked. Okay, he ruined Star Wars. Star Wars is over now. Because, dude, I loved Star Wars as a kid. I mean, I was obsessed with it.
Yeah, you were not alone. I think many people were really bummed out about what he kind of did to that. Really, because the first movie in the sequels was basically a remake of the first ever movie. And
Yeah.
while that wasn't overly exciting, I think people were just like, we'll take it because I think it's going to lead to a lot of bigger, cooler things. And he came in that second one and just like really did a number on it to where the third one, they were basically just trying to make up for all the things he did. And the third one really didn't get to be the conclusion it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was just a whole apology. That whole
Essentially.
movie.
And it wasn't a good one.
No. The biggest thing that The Force Awakens had going for it was the mystery about Luke. And then at the end, she finally finds him, and then the movie's over. And that was a bit like, dude, we've waited years to see Luke, and I'm like, all right, we'll wait for the second one. And then the first thing he does is throw the lightsaber off, and he doesn't care, and he sucks at fighting. I'm like, how can you do this?
Dude.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Look what they did to him. Have you seen Rogue One?
Oh, yeah.
You know the scene where Darth Vader gets on the rebel ship and he's just tearing through soldiers?
That's everyone. How can you not know that scene?
I needed that.
I know, yeah.
From Luke. The closest I ever got was The Mandalorian Season 2.
That was an apology that worked.
That one, because Jon Favreau's the best.
Yeah.
At everything he does.
Yeah.
Elf, Iron Man, he started the MCU.
I didn't realize Jon Favreau did Iron Man.
Dude, they did it.
With you. I didn't know who Jon Favreau was until 2 seconds ago.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've heard the name before.
He was in Friends.
That's probably why I didn't care.
Well, I mean, he was like he was like he played a boyfriend or something to, I think, Monica a couple times. But he was in, what else is he's been in so much stuff. He's in a lot of the stuff he directs. He plays Happy Hogan in the Iron Man movies.
Oh, that's Jon Favreau?
Yes.
Oh.
In Elf, he plays the doctor who gives the family tree checkup to Yeah. He plays in a lot of the stuff. He's like a Tarantino in that way. He puts a little role in for himself. Not only did he start the MCU, he's the one who convinced Marvel to go with RDJ. They didn't want to go with him because of his past.
Wow.
And they did it with no script.
Amazing.
That whole movie came together with no finalized script. Just kind of like a skeleton of one.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau's great. I had no idea he did Elf.
Yeah.
Or
he's a beast.
I didn't even know that he did The Mandalorian either.
Yeah, he's the one who did, I know, at least the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian.
Wow.
I don't know if he's behind the movie that's coming out, and I don't know if he did any, I think there was like a 3rd season of Mando. I don't know if he did that, but I know the first 2, he was like the director, producer of the show.
Do you think that, because here's the only caveat with The Mandalorian, is when that happened, I was like, wow, they really did Luke a good job on that one. That's what every Luke fan has been wanting to see from him the whole time. But then there's just this pit in your stomach where you're like, yeah, but we know how his story ends, though. We know that it ends with The Last Jedi and him being this kind of loser who just gives up on life.
So
that puts a bitter taste. So here's my question. Do you think the Star Wars fandom would accept if Disney just came out and said, we are scrapping that trilogy and pretending like it never existed? Or do you think that would be just too... The suspension of disbelief would just be too hard to...
So here's the thing. I think at this point, and this goes for just about everything, you can't please everyone. If they came out and said that today, you would have a direct 50-50 split of people who are like, thank the Lord. Yes, let's move on. And you'd have people who are like, no, it happened. For better or worse, it happened. It's part of the story now. Just to be...
And what if something very unfortunate happened to those people?
Okay, Thanos.
No. This is. I'm not.
No, not. Oh. Slides on Infinity Gauntlets.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was trying to say I'm not
Don't
gonna
let him close his hand.
I was trying to say I'm not gonna do it like I can't think of the word, like arbitrarily.
Randomly.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm targeting specific people.
It's definitely what is a homicide? Like a genocide of a fan group.
Yeah.
No, I'll put it like this. You would have people who would be upset about it. Even
yeah, you're right.
Let's think of Superman.
Oh boy, here we go.
It was all Man of Steel is poo-poo. The Snyderverse is stinky until what's his name?
James Gunn.
James Gunn took over, and we get Superman, and then it's like, the Snyderverse was the best thing that's ever happened to this character, and why are y'all ruining it? You're spitting in the face of it. This guy's a wimp. You know, and we kept on this show. Where did these guys come from?
Yeah, I know.
Where did they come? You didn't exist 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It was the second the first trailer came out, they all came out of the woodworks and were like, nah, this is terrible. You would have the same thing. For years, it's been the sequel trilogy is the worst trilogy, the worst thing to happen to Star Wars, hands down. People look at it as the beginning of the decline, the Disney era that took over Lucasfilms and kind of started ruining. There's still some bright spots in there. People loved Andor. I think Andor is the one people loved. People loved most of Mando. Rogue One, a lot of people liked. But you know, you got your failures in there too. And they mark the sequel trilogy as rightfully as the start of that.
Yeah.
But the second they would come out and be like, you know what, we're sorry, we're stepping away from that. Okay, we're gonna take a step back, take a fresh breath. And one of our more successful things in this IP has been Mando. So we're actually going to use the Mandalorian and Grogu movie as a fresh stepping stone into what will actually be the new era of Star Wars. We're moving away from that trilogy because it's been made apparent that this Mandalorian storyline takes place further back because you see young Luke in season 2. So it's definitely further back. Well, then all of a sudden you'd have people coming up, what? You're just going to forget about Rey? You're going to forget about Poe and blah, blah, blah. And you're just going to spit all over Leia dying? You're going to ruin her death?
To play the devil's advocate.
There's 2 lamps.
Oh, yeah. This actually worked with James Gunn and the Suicide Squad because they just fourth wall broke and were like, pretend that movie doesn't exist. So it has technically worked in the past, even though most people were very confused.
You're right.
But this is almost a pointless conversation because we know they're not doing that. Cause
they won't do it.
They're coming out with Starfighter, which takes place after the trilogy. When I saw Starfighter starring Ryan Gosling, I'm like, that sounds really cool. But then they ruined it by saying this takes place years after the trilogy. I'm like, you're going to keep that? Ugh! Let's just go back. Let's go to the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the Old Republic.
Well, the thing, too, like... you bring up the sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I don't know how we got on. We're
talking about Ryan Johnson, but
oh, true, yeah.
I'll say this, and then we don't have to stick on it. But the Suicide Squad point is a fair point, but Suicide Squad did not have the loving, adoring fan base that Star Wars had for decades before they came in and ruined it. So it was very easy for them to be like, hey, you know that movie y'all barely remember anyway? Forget it. You're like, what movie? It's forgotten. It's done.
That's a good point.
Star Wars, it'd be harder for them to do. They could do it. They could just say it and do it, and people would just have to live with it, but they're not going to. There's to some extent, I think they're still proud of what they did. I think they fixed it. They have to, because if not, I don't see how you continue on the way you're going.
I think that they just know that Star Wars fans are so crazy about Star Wars that they can just keep doing it.
That's fair.
It's just an abusive relationship.
That's fair.
And they'll deny that they're in an abusive relationship.
Well, sadly, we might be heading there with the MCU. And,
oh my gosh, yeah.
We're gonna talk about some of that coming up in our second hour, but we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk trailers with you guys.
What? We're taking a break.
That's what Raymond always used to do when we would start filming something. He would, and so I started messing with him and going like this, and he got mad at me.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we're back.
I think it's funny that we talk about Ray a lot on this podcast, and nobody has any idea who this guy is.
No, they don't. But they just know he's an important figure in our past. Therefore, he's a part of our lore. Therefore, they care.
I wonder if there's, between the two people who listen to this,
all the time, like the ones, yeah. You two are the realists, by the way.
That's right.
We always have like a couple views or like a couple listens on Spotify or YouTube. Like it's always, and I always, it's got to be the
weird,
same.
Because I watch it at least 10 times.
Well, it's not counting.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. We're being held down by the corporations.
Yeah. It's the man.
The man doesn't want us to succeed.
The man kidnapped Shamu and put her in a chlorine tank.
What is that from?
School of Rock.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh.
I was gonna say, do you think that our two listeners debate over whether Ray is a real person?
No, because they would probably have to do it in the comments. I would doubt that like they know each other, so like we'd actually have a comment section.
They're our wives. They know each other.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have been texting about that in the group chat.
Is this Ray person real? You've met him 6 times. No one was there. I'm talking to myself again.
Before we jump into lovely, lovely trailer talk, just lovely trailer talk.
Not like trailer park talk.
No, not that. I do want to say, mainly because I'm talking to you. The other night, my wife wanted to sit down and watch a Christmas movie with our son, or at least attempt to.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too. It was really rough. I was like, I wish Daniel was here. No, which by the way, I hope you were able to enjoy Wake Up Dead Man with my son running around the living room like a maniac the whole time.
He really didn't interrupt that much.
Okay. I'm glad.
I was like maybe 30% of the movie.
That's a lot.
It is a good chunk, but
that's not an insignificant. That's nearing half. That's closer to half than it is to zero.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But it was, I could still hear everything and observe the movie.
Okay,
I mean, it wasn't like he was in front of my, like, smacking my face.
Well,
going,
yeah. Which is
actually,
I punished him for that because I told him to do it, and he didn't. So he got punished for that.
I kind of sounded like Donnie from Wild Donnie. That's really good. I do a great Jar Jar Binks, and you've seen Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So we sat down. She wanted to watch The Grinch.
Okay.
Both of us, it's been years since either of us have seen it. So I went on Prime. Right now it's on Prime for free. So you just watch it. So I got on there and dude, I've always loved that movie. I got to see that movie for the first time in theaters. Like my dad and our neighbor took me and my friend to go see it in theaters. And even as a kid, I really enjoyed it. But as an adult, there's even more in there that you can really enjoy it, dude.
He looks just like your boss.
Yeah. Yes. Or like the fourth wall breaks. Yeah. One of my favorite scenes from that movie is when she goes into his lair and he's trying to scare her and she's just not having it. And he finally looks right up at the camera and he's like, kids today, so desensitized by movies and television. What do you want? Like, that whole thing is so... I just wanted to say, because I know you are our resident Jim Carrey huge fan. I forgot. He put so much into that role.
on top of that, for that role, do you know about how like horrible that role was for him? Have you heard about this?
No.
So he said that being in that costume, it took him 8 hours to get put in that costume every day, the makeup, and he said it felt like being buried alive. And they literally hired a person who teaches CIA agents how to handle torture to be there on set with him so that he didn't freak out and lose his mind. He said the first time he did the makeup, he went into his trailer and like punched a hole in the wall because it made him go so crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he said that in his interview, the whole time he was sitting in his chair, like rocking back and forth, telling himself, it's for the kids, it's for the kids, it's for the kids. But,
good Lord.
The torture, you should look up the interview. It's kind of funny, but he's like the torture trainer guy was like smoke a whole lot, do something to change your environment, like hit yourself if you need to just. So he said he was just sitting there in this Grinch costume, just like chain smoking, going, just freaking out and stuff. So when he was doing that scene of like, he was probably half trying to like survive.
Just shock himself out of.
Yeah.
Wow.
So on top of that amount of horrible experience, he still performed one of his greatest performances.
That is up there.
Yeah.
And the fact that so much of his expressions come through all that makeup and everything is insane. And again, it's just so well written. And I wonder how much of it actually, like now as an adult, just knowing that in a lot of these comedy movies, like a lot of these very funny actors, they'll let them kind of riff. I'm wondering how much of it was just him riffing.
Yeah.
The thing where he
Jury duty Jackson.
That was definitely riffing.
Yeah.
That was for sure riffing. The thing where he puts the he's like, okay, here's the scene. You're a freak named Rudolph, and blah blah, blah. And the dog, he goes, add action, and the dog just like pops the nose off, and he looks at him and he goes, brilliant. You reject the whole idea. Like like that. I was like, there's no way that was scripted.
Yeah.
There's no way that was scripted. Like you could just tell, man, the way he delivers certain things.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I was watching. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to talk about this on the pod because I had forgotten how good that movie is.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie, and it is so refreshing to see in such a fantastical world too. Mostly practical sets.
Oh yeah.
Like there was definitely some green screen of like the far off environment, but like the layer, the houses, the stuff, it was real. It was so cool to see that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had to talk to you about it. I'm gonna rewatch it before Christmas is over for sure.
Yeah, I need to watch it soon too, but you're making me want to watch it right now. But I also think that the practical sets like that, because Lord of the Rings was practical. Like they built Rohan.
Yeah.
Great. But anyways, I think it automatically boosts actors' performances.
It has to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it has to make it so much easier to get in that frame of mind.
Case in point, Ian McKellen's breakdown when he did The Hobbit.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so sad to watch.
Yeah.
So sad to watch.
The movies or the breakdown?
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, the Hobbit movies are not as bad as they.
I liked the second one. I never saw the first.
The first one was the best one,
and I've heard that. I liked the second one, even without knowing much about Lord of the Rings or having seen the first Hobbit. The third one, even knowing nothing about any of it, I was like, "What am I watching?"
It was a little bit much. I still enjoy it just because I like Lord of the Rings, but it was not a great movie.
Right, but yeah, that breakdown of him on set, surrounded by nothing but green. Like he's in like a insane asylum. Woo, it's heavy. And I mean, you can tell it's like partly, I think it hits him that like so many years have passed since he did those original movies. Yeah. Probably a lot's hitting him. But then on top of that, like you said, like probably just remembering being on these real sets for those movies and probably how magical it felt just being on them compared to being in a big green box.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
One last point on the Grinch before we move on.
Yes.
That you're talking about his scripted stuff. You know the scene where he yanks the tablecloth? That was an accident. The stuff was supposed to fall. So him going back and knocking it over was an improv.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And I also wonder if he riffs his schedule.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't know if I can make it.
Yeah.
6:30, dinner with myself. I can't cancel that again.
Or he chews the bottle. Excellent. Yeah.
I love when he's like, 7 o'clock, solve world hunger, tell no one. Like,
That's great.
those things have to be riffed.
Yeah.
But then even some of the written stuff that he couldn't have riffed because it's like other people involved, I'm an idiot. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
And then he's, I'm just going to whisper. Yeah. That way, by the time my voice bounces off the walls, it gets back to me. I won't be able to hear it. You're an idiot. It's just a great movie, man. It's the Christmas time. Go sit down with your families and watch that movie. It's so good. Kids, adults, everyone can love that one.
Yeah.
Let's move on to my favorite part of the day, trailer talk. Usually is my favorite part of the day. This will be fun, I think. It'll be entertaining at least.
Yeah.
But, oh my goodness, do we have some stuff to talk about for trailers.
I think our sorrow and grief could be entertaining for people.
It probably is. Probably more than our joy.
That's true. That's why we stay friends together. I'm just kidding.
Let's talk Sheep Detectives first because it's the newest one we just watched and it'll be quick.
Okay.
New movie with Hugh Jackman, Sheep Detectives. Cute little, you got your classic like live action animals that are actually CG that are like talking. Their herder is murdered.
Did you mean to do that?
Well, in the trailer it says it's a herder mystery.
Yeah, but the rhyme, the herder is murdered.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Oh, wait, herder mystery. Okay, I get it now. I'm sorry. Yeah. Look, right over my head.
Yeah, so they I guess start to like he reads them murder mysteries before nighttime or whatever, and so they know about murder, so they try and solve his murder. It looks cute. Probably gonna be like a cute little heartfelt, probably not an intense murder mystery, probably more focused on like the sheep antics.
Yeah.
They'll probably solve it by just sheer luck. But someone's probably gonna try and pull the wool over their eyes. But they're gonna ram the truth into you.
Did you just think of all this?
Yeah.
That was amazing. I thought you had written this out.
Do you even get the you one?
Oh my gosh, that one missed. Oh man.
I thought I was like, man, I didn't think you'd catch the you one.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. You.
That was great.
Thanks. That's probably awesome. I should have wrote the trailer for him.
I know. For real.
We'll turn this into the B movie part 2. It's all puns. No, but in all seriousness, it looks cute. I sent it to you before I got here. I didn't get to see you watch it. What'd you think of it?
I thought it was great.
Is that one you think you would want to see? Like, probably not go to theaters
for,
but
theaters. I definitely want to see it. Yeah, it looks like a fun family movie that's like really, really cute, like you said, and it's a funny idea. It's like a unique idea. Like the part where in the trailer where he reads the spoilers. If you haven't seen the trailer, go watch it real quick and come back. But when he's like reading the murder mysteries to his sheep, I just thought that was kind of funny at first. And he's like says something like, I know that they're just sheep, but I just like to think that they like it. And then he goes in the trailer, and the sheep goes like, "Oh, he's gonna end it right there.
Why would he stop it there?"
Yeah, that caught me off guard. I was like, "That's pretty funny."
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of fun. There are a few parts where I genuinely laughed too.
The crossing the road part got me. Yeah, that was kind of cute. They were like, "What is this?" He's like, "It's not grass. I know that."
Or they're like sliding down something in their faces. They're like, "Oh!"
Yeah,
that was funny.
I thought that was them like running across the road together. Like,
oh, I think that's what it was.
I thought, but anyway, it looks cute. Like I said, not much to talk about there. Just thought I'd bring it up because I had not heard of it at all until I saw the trailer. So just to put the word out.
Refreshingly, you've shown me 2 trailers now of movies that are original ideas coming out.
It's true.
It's like, this is awesome.
Well, 3, because we never did talk about the one where Chris Pratt is in an AI prison.
Oh, yeah.
Where he has to convince the AI that he did not commit the crime. He's got 60 minutes to plead his case to this AI judge, jury, whatever. And if he can't convince the system that he didn't, I think, kill his wife is what it is, he's going to die. So That looked really interesting too, and I haven't seen anything else about that. I don't even know if that one's out.
Oh yeah, what about Dust Bunny? That one's supposed to come out.
That too. Haven't heard anything else about that.
Here's what we're learning: original ideas are being made.
They're getting swept under the rug.
They're getting swept under the rug. Nobody treats them.
Even with Hugh Jackman.
I know.
Chris Pratt. And there was Mads Mikkelsen is in Dust Bunny. And then there was the Treehouse movie. Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
They all have big names attached to them, but they're not getting a lot of push.
Perfect example of our discussion we had last podcast about we're not living in a movie star era anymore.
It's a good point. Of course, I wouldn't pin any of them as A-lister. Well, maybe Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. But to be fair, the way that trailer looked, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus was one of the sheep voices, and then what's the lady who played Karen Eiffel in Stranger Than Fiction? Oh, I can't remember her name.
I don't remember.
She's in that movie. There's a lot of that one looks like they're gonna push it a little bit.
I was gonna say that one also. That trailer only came out a day ago.
Yeah.
So
and that there's something about the way that trailer went that makes me feel like they're probably gonna push this one a little bit harder.
That one probably, and that like I'm saying, he's probably the biggest name of all the ones we just listed. But anyway, it looked cute. Maybe worth a shot. I mean, if you just looking for like a fun go to the movies as a family movie. There's some coming out, it looks like, that would be maybe fun to go check out.
Oh, yeah.
I will say this. One last thing on this before we go to other trailers. You know what else this makes me think of?
What's that?
Something else we didn't get to talk about on here. The last time we recorded a podcast, right as we got off the mics and started editing it, I got on Twitter and saw the breaking news that Netflix, at the time, had acquired. Now, from what I've heard since then, there's been a lot of other stuff going on.
But no, it's final now.
Oh, it is final. Paramount couldn't do anything about it?
Yeah, Warner Bros. Turned down Paramount's idea, and Netflix now on their home screen is advertising the new acquisition of Warner Bros.
There you go.
And they're like, they give you like some details about how it's going to go.
So there you go. Netflix officially has acquired Warner Bros. A much older, much bigger, much more expansive, much more iconic movie studio, brand, logo. I mean, you name it. They now own Warner Bros. And I can tell you, with the way things are going, you will see less and less and less of these original idea movies going to theater. You'll probably still see the movies. As a matter of fact, streaming has been great for putting out original movies that theater chains won't pick up. But that doesn't mean they should never be in theaters. And Netflix has been, I don't mean to cut you, but Netflix has been very vocal for a long time about how they feel about theaters and that experience. And I don't this acquisition.
I don't either. Netflix has come out and said that because there's been a lot of backlash about that, and they said they have every intention of keeping Warner Bros. Movies in theaters, like that they're not going to change that. But my suspicion is they're going to do more stuff like what they did with Wake Up Dead Man, where it's like, they're in theaters.
For like a week.
Or in like select weird theater. You couldn't even see Wake Up Dead
Man. Even go. I would have had to go, I think Charlotte, Atlanta, or like New York were the only things on the East Coast that had it.
Yeah, that's crazy. So like, I mean, that's what I think they're probably going to start off doing it the same, and they're going to taper it, kind of like how YouTube slowly added more and more ads to the point where we're like, there's an ad 3 times in the middle of your video, and we're used to it. Like, I think that's
I hate that about Peacock. You got me to get Peacock, and I started watching some stuff on there, and it's like they don't even have an ad-free option. You're going to get commercials on your streaming platform. I'm like, that's lame. I pay you. I pay you, and your sponsors pay you. Why not just let them pay you then and let me not pay you and have commercials like cable? Yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to spend too long on that, but I did want to touch on it. This is a movie and film podcast, and I thought it was kind of lame that we didn't get to touch on the Netflix thing last time. It's important, and it'll probably be talked more about. Again, not going to focus on it here just because I haven't done a lot of research on it yet, but I think that's something I'm going to want him and I to prep on and bring a little bit more to the table with. I think there's a lot to talk about there. I think there's a lot to talk about there. And I think in the coming weeks, there will be more released there's always, they make their initial statements when the shock is at its high, and then as it dies down, there will be other things coming out that'll be like, oh, wait a minute. Now they said this, but now they're saying this.
Yeah.
There's going to be more of that. So look for that. That'll be in a future episode for sure. We're going to be tackling the whole Netflix thing. But for now, moving away from that, let's talk Supergirl.
Oh my gosh.
So another trailer to have come out since the last time we recorded was Supergirl, the official, I guess that was a teaser. It wasn't very long, so I wouldn't call that a theatrical trailer, or full length, I'll say. I'm going to start with you, because not only did you see it before me, but I think you are going to have some passionate viewpoints, and I want to hear you go. I've been talking for a while.
So this podcast is going to be 3 hours longer than usual. No, I'm joking. I don't really have a whole lot to say because I don't really want to give it the light of day. But you remember we had our little review about Superman.
Mm-hmm. Little, I guess, is one way to put it.
Yeah. So we loved Superman. Thought it was great. Loved his character. Loved everything they did about it. My biggest thing that I hated about it was the Supergirl reveal at the end, which first off should have been an end credit scene.
Agreed.
Instead of the two lame ones they did. And secondly, I'm like, they did it like it was this big reveal, like, oh, Supergirl. Nobody cares about Supergirl, and stop trying to pretend like people do. Like, that's what I want to tell James Gunn. You might disagree with that. I think all of the hype, quote unquote, that's out there about a lot of girl superheroes like that is really fabricated. I don't think Superman is probably the most iconic superhero. I think he was the first one. Like,
that's not true.
DC came out before Marvel, and I think Superman, which is one thing that I thought was really cool that they did in the Superman movie, that little DC intro where they showed the very first Superman, like, just kind of breaking chains off his chest. Do you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That little roll in? That was awesome. He was definitely one of the first, like, superheroes.
One of the first, like, modern notable ones, yeah.
Well, as far as we know, the superhero genre is today. Like, it wouldn't be here without Superman. I mean, Superman was... And I don't even... This is coming from someone who's, like, my issues with Superman and stuff. But he's like, you think superheroes, you think Superman, you know. But anyway, I thought they did his character justice in the Superman movie. I loved James Gunn's take on him. And then they bring Supergirl in, almost like... in the way they did it was almost a little bit like they're setting it up to be like, oh, Supergirl, whoa. And then I was like, okay, whatever. And then the Supergirl trailer comes out. And I'm like, everything.
And he was like, I get it.
I thought, okay, this will be like a I don't know, Black Widow movie or something. Like when Supergirl showed up at the end of Superman, I was like, okay, so they'll do like a little like in between, kind of like a Black Widow type character. But they're setting it up like she's this awesome, big central role, like huge superhero in the DCU, almost like she's more important than Superman. One of the first things that they do is show Crypto peeing on an image of Superman on the newspaper. And why? So it makes it seem like he built up this whole Superman character in the first movie just to be like, yeah, he sucks. And I know that's probably not what he's doing, but that's kind of the way I'm like, you're crapping all over the character that you built. You made us love Superman and then pee on his image? Like that imagery, I hated that. Maybe they're not trying to do that, but that was not, that just put a really bad taste in my mouth. And then Supergirl is like this super, BA boss girl type superhero. And then she, at the end, that line, Superman sees the good in everyone, but I see the truth. I was like, oh, it just made me like roll my eyes. Like, you got to be kidding me. That was Superman's whole deal. That's what made him so cool. And you're portraying it now like he's this overly emotional imbecile, and this super boss girl is going to come. She's going to be the one who like really does it in, which was weird to me because I never got that vibe in the Superman movie. I never got that
vibe.
That they were setting Superman up to be like wrong in his viewpoints. Like they made him a well-rounded character, and like he's got his flaws because of it, but he actually does have a lot of value because he sees the good in everyone. Like, that's one of the things that makes him so likable and fun in the Superman movie. They didn't set him up, and then in this movie, it's almost like, yeah, he's an idiot. And I get it. Maybe it's supposed to be from Supergirl's perspective, but that doesn't make me like Supergirl. She's this drunk party girl. And I've heard some people say, well, if the story shows that she learns from her behavior, then it could be good. Yeah, it could be, but why would you show an image of the dog peeing on Superman? Like, that feels kind of pointed to me. I don't know. Anyways, those are my thoughts. I've never been a fan of Supergirl. I think she's a stupid superhero. Wonder Woman is way better, that was actually the only successful part of the Snyderverse was Wonder Woman.
The first one.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the second one. But I remember people who didn't like any of the Snyderverse movies saying Wonder Woman could save it. It was so good. I actually never saw it. But I liked Wonder Woman's character though in Snyder's. I think that the Snyder Bros are all torn on this one too, because that trailer poops all over the Superman that they hate so much, but then they don't want to support James Gunn's Supergirl, so yeah. They seem confused online. Anyways, those are my thoughts.
Okay. So let's move on.
Great.
No, I'm just kidding. I have a lot to say on it. First of all, I thought the trailer itself was pretty good. That was a pretty good trailer for what a trailer is. I thought it teased the movie in a way that made me be like, I would watch that. To me, I'm getting heavy Guardians vibes.
Oh, that too, yeah.
From this movie. And I feel like James Gunn, because Superman is from space, but his stories are so grounded and rooted on like Earth and like him wanting to be human, that I feel like he knew he wasn't going to be able to do a lot of the space stuff with Superman. So I think he's going to use Supergirl as his way to kind of dip his toe back into the crazy space antics bag, or pool, I should say. I don't know why he put his toe in a bag, but go off. I think he's going to use this as a way, she's also from Krypton, so she's also got experience in space, and I think this is going to be his way to, tackle that. And it looks fun and wacky in that way, and I'm excited to see a more expanded upon DC universe as far as that goes.
That was the best part about the trailer for me.
I do like, and I don't remember her name, but I do like the actress.
Millie Aycock?
Yes. She is in House of the Dragon, and I really loved her in that show. So I think she, as an actress, will do a good job. Now, I'm not talking about the character. The actress, I think, will do a good job. And I think the trailer showed that. She is portraying what the written material is giving her well. So I think she is doing a good job. She looks great in the costume. I think the costume design looks really good. I'm all for all that. So, we talked earlier about you called me an optimist. I'm going to play the optimist here.
Yeah, of course you are.
I just think it's fair. So my first thought when I saw the trailer was they're showing us what her arc is going to be. I think this is a prediction. Okay, this is me based purely off a teaser trailer and watching Superman making a prediction. Movie comes out, I could be completely wrong, and then it's a different discussion. But heck, the next trailer might come out and I could be completely wrong, and then it's a different discussion. But for right now, off the first teaser, my prediction is that we've already met a Supergirl who, like you said, is a party girl, a drunk, a pessimist who thinks she's a realist because she sees the truth. Where her cousin sees the good, she claims she sees the truth. So I think she thinks she's a realist, but she's clearly a pessimist who's trying to mask the depression or negativity or whatever she's got going on with her lifestyle. In that first clip where you talk about Crypto peeing on the newspaper with Superman on it, we see her like wake up, and it's just like she just looks disheveled. I don't know. Anyway, that she looks messed up, hair all over the place. She looks rough. She's had a long night. Clearly, as she slept into the day, like the sun is up in the window. She's in a rough state. I think this movie is going to be about her whole ideology being flipped upside down. I don't think we go into the movie and see a version of Supergirl that is this like gritty, negative, realist, drunk party girl, and then in the movie with that same version of Supergirl. Just what I know of James Gunn, he loves putting heart into his characters, and I think that what he saw here was an opportunity to have a character as powerful as Superman. You can't do this with Superman because Superman's whole thing is he is the Boy Scout of DC. You can't have him be flawed. You can have him be flawed, like you said, like to where it's like he's almost like too nice, but like that's kind of it. If you do much more than that, you're going to lose the Superman fan base. This was a version for him to take that power set and just put it on a different canvas that doesn't have that tied to it, and be like, well, what if we had a Superman who's younger, more irresponsible, more jaded outlook on life, and just lives a life with no rules set? What would that look like? How would we handle that? How would that person come to grow? And like, what would we put that person through to have them grow? That's what I think this movie's going to be. I think you're going to start the movie with a version of Supergirl that you're kind of meant to not like. I think you end it with a version that's a lot more akin to where you see how her and Clark could actually be related. Now, I don't know how. I don't know what she's going to go through. I have no idea what the story could be, but that's just my prediction for her arc.
I mean, if they do it that way to the point where Superman actually teaches her like where she's wrong, I will be much more likely to like the movie. But even so, the trailer, it felt like it was a selling point.
I think it is.
But why would you make it so that you're not supposed to like the protagonist?
I don't think it's...
And they didn't show any signs that she's going to have that arc in the trailer. They just showed where she currently is now.
Well, right. I think just from the teaser, you're supposed to get that she is like a Superman type power set, but with no holds barred. Like, you're in for a wild ride of a movie is what I think they're trying to sell.
I'm with you there.
And by the way, sorry, also the wackiness of like Guardians-esque adventure. Go ahead.
That was the part I liked most about it. It was like, it's kind of like the DC's version of Guardians, but the peeing on Superman and that line about Superman sees the good, but I see the truth.
I think that is crucial to have in there. I think that's crucial. You have to separate them at first.
You can separate them without doing that. Honestly, even if it was just the line without the peeing on his face.
And that's what I think. I think you're definitely more hung up on that because that's like one of the first things you see in the trailer. Yeah. And that imagery is shocking. But
to a point where it's like, dude, you just introduced us to this character and made us love him. And you're trying to get us to like a new character whose dog... First off, the dog was the worst part of the Superman. He was the most annoying, horrible dog.
I agree. And by the way, it made sense in that movie when you find out it's not his.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of versions, he is Superman's dog, but he doesn't act like that.
Right.
It makes a lot more sense that it's her dog and he's so untrained and, he's wild.
Yeah, I hated the dog the whole time pretty much. And then that's how they start the Supergirl, with this dog peeing on Superman. It's like, dude, I already hated this dog. And now... oh, he's Supergirl's dog, and we find out Supergirl thinks Superman is an idiot too, and maybe not an idiot.
I was gonna say I don't know about that,
but still, it's like she's a realist, and the trailer portrayed it like that's a selling point of the movie. It's like, oh, we're gonna see the world from this realist perspective.
By the way, what I'm saying,
what you're saying could be 100% true.
No.
And if that's the case, it's a problem with the trailer and not with the movie.
I think the trailer is doing what it wants to do perfectly. I don't think that the trailer is saying she is a realist. I think the trailer is saying she thinks she's a realist, but she's actually a pessimist.
What in the trailer showed that she is actually just a pessimist and not a realist?
I don't think you can base it purely on the trailer. I think you have to base it off the trailer and what you know of Superman. Like, I think it is depending. He's doing what Marvel does. Hey, to get this, you're going to have to watch this. They're connected. That's what a universe is. We haven't met her yet. So the main bit of information we have about anything connected to her is Superman. He wants you to know they're related. They have same power set, but their ideologies are very different. You were endeared to Superman. You loved Superman because he was this soft, kind-hearted, positive person. I think he's really trying to show you how differently she views things. And I have another bit of information I found out that if they go this route, and I know a lot of times they take things from the comics, a lot of times they don't, and a lot of times they do and they kind of twist it. So I don't know if they're going to do this or not. But from what I kind of was hearing, there's a storyline, and I think this may be like originally, her original intent as a character when she was brought into the comics. She's older than Superman on Krypton. And then he gets sent away. She gets sent away by their family also to watch over him. But on her way to follow him, she gets caught in some kind of black hole, wormhole, whatever it's a comic thing. And because of weird time stuff, he gets to Earth years before her. Like a long time, to where, as you can see in the movie, he's older than her now. But actually, she was older than him and was sent here with the mindset of, I'm supposed to be his protector. If that's the case, and that's the route they go in this, I could also understand why she would have this like more protective, hardened outer shell of like, he's too forgiving, he's too nice, these people are going to betray him. They did in his movie. They turned on him. And
they didn't show any of that in the trailer, though.
But it's a teaser. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is what they're doing. I'm just saying this is comic book knowledge that I figured you probably didn't have, because I didn't have it until the other day, that if they do that, it even adds more understanding to why she might have this perspective.
Sure, but they could have easily teased that in the trailer. And
I'm glad they didn't.
I'm not, because all I got was, I've gotten from her cameo in the Superman movie. I already didn't like Supergirl, and then she comes in, stumbles in all drunk, and it's like, oh, it's your dog. Like, I'm glad it's not Superman's, but gosh, you're a horrible, like, you and your stupid dog, get out of here. Like, that's what I felt like. And then Superman was like, yeah, she goes to planets where she can get drunk and party. I'm like, who likes this character? Are you trying to make us like her? And then in the Supergirl, if they're going the route that you say they are, then they could have just shown her in a ship following him, getting knocked away into something else, and then waking up, and then being jaded because of where she is in life, and building some empathy in her, like, oh, she got screwed, this was not supposed to happen, and then they could have easily just shown little hints of that. All they did was show that her dog pees on Superman's newspaper. I hate that dog now, and I hope he dies. And and then they show her thinking that she's this. They show her being this like boss girl, beating up all these guys, and then she sees the truth in everyone. I didn't get the image at all that she thinks that she's a realist from that trailer.
Well, I mean, the fact that she says that at all as a line, she believes it.
I'm saying I didn't get the vibe. She obviously thinks she's a realist, but I didn't get the vibe that they were trying to show. She thinks she's a realist, but she's actually just depressed or a pessimist.
Because you don't know anything about that's.
But I just said everything. You could have shown a couple things to just kind of hint at, like, oh, okay, so she feels this way because like crappy stuff happened to her.
Everything you just said. Everything. As a matter of fact, I think some of that will be in the movie. Everything you just said is storytelling. And I don't think a trailer's job is storytelling.
Trailers, yeah, well, it's to show you what the story's going to be.
It's
trailers
to sell.
Yes, sir, exactly. That's my point. They didn't sell me on this character or
but
this
they weren't
story
going
at all.
to, though.
That's not true. I just told you how they could have.
But you also just, well, no, I don't think that would have sold you on the character. That would have,
certainly would have helped.
I think that would have made you be like, Oh, like I see. Like this isn't going to be as bad as I thought it was going to be. But like,
let me give you a perfect example. If after that line, Superman sees the good in everyone, but I see the truth, they showed a clip of like her talking to Superman and him like looking at her like, that's not right. Or he didn't even have to say that, just implied he is going to challenge that worldview, and they have a good relationship. That would have been even enough for me to at least be like, okay, I see where this is going. It probably wouldn't have been like, oh, I can't wait to see Supergirl now. But it's like he just hammered it in.
I'll say this. I 100% believe that when we get like the next trailer, like a full length trailer, that's probably closer to like 2.5 minutes. I think we're going to see more of that's what they do in these. You're hung up on it on this because you were already skeptical about that character in this movie, but they do this all the time. They give you a little one that shows next to nothing, and then they'll give you a longer one that actually kind of tells you more about, okay, this is what more of the story of the movie is. That's a theatrical trailer. This is a teaser. So I didn't expect any of that going in. Here's what I will say. I'm guaranteeing this. When the full-length trailer comes out, one of us is going to completely change our mind on this. No, for real.
Completely change?
I think either they're going to show enough to where you're going to be like, okay, that story actually does sound interesting, even though I don't think you're going to be like all of a sudden gung-ho about this character. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're going to completely change your mind about the film. They're going to show enough to intrigue you, or they're going to show enough to prove me wrong, and I'm like, no, you're right. They're going away with this that I don't think is smart.
I'm open to that idea.
I 100% believe that.
Okay, well, I mean, hey, I'm open to that. We'll see what they do in the trailer.
I think you're being completely fair. Like you watched the trailer before me.
The teaser, yeah.
Like I thought I was going to end up having to send you that when it came out, and you texted me about it and was like, have you seen the trailer yet? So like, I think you're being fair and open-minded about it as much as you can be, already not really liking the character that much. I'm not accusing you of that. I'm just saying I think because you don't like the character that much, you're putting a lot more weight on a teaser than you normally maybe would.
That's not entirely true. Supergirl I've never liked at all, but and I said this during our Superman review, they made it a million times worse when they introduced her in the Superman movie by making her this drunk party girl who owns this stupid dog. Like, that made it a million times worse. So, yes, I had that taste in my mouth before seeing this teaser, but specifically with this Supergirl. It wasn't like they just had a Supergirl cameo.
Yeah, she didn't come in and be like, "Hi, cousin," and give him a hug. And yeah, it was. I get it.
I mean,
I still think this is all going to serve her character well, though. I really do. I think the more unhinged she is at the beginning, like the first time you're seeing her and in the beginning of her movie, the more impactful the ending of her movie is going to be. I really do think that.
Well, yeah, if that's her arc, then I agree with that.
I think it will be. Here's the thing. Let's take a step back and think bigger scale than just that movie, right? Thank you. I can't. James Gunn is not an idiot. Can we agree on that?
No. I'm just kidding. No. No, I love almost everything he's done.
I was gonna say you're a big fan. I'm a big fan. I think we both agree. Guardians trilogy is probably one of the brightest spots of the whole MCU. I think you might think it's the brightest spot. I don't know. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but
that's a little extreme. But definitely one of the brightest. Yeah.
I think he's passionate enough about comics, these characters, and his job. I mean, he wouldn't have taken this job if it wasn't a huge deal to him to orchestrate the next big comic book movie universe. And we've talked about on here, we think the end goal here is for him and Feige to team up and do the biggest crossover that's ever been done in movie history and do the DC Marvel thing that the comics are actually doing again right now. All that being said, I don't think he's an idiot. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he knows that the point of Superman is to bring you in. It's warm. It's inviting. It's understanding. It's all the good thing. He is the Boy Scout. They make fun of that in the movie with like the Green Lantern in there, like picking on him and stuff. I mean, it's just what he is. He turns himself into authorities, which I mean, there's like clips of that. In the Justice League cartoon that used to come on Cartoon Network, there's a clip of all of them flying in the jet going to turn themselves into the government. And they call Batman. He's in his Batmobile, and they're like, hey, we need you to come in. We're going to turn ourselves in. He's like, you're what? And he's like, yeah, we're going to turn ourselves in. He's like, you guys can be idiots if you want, but like, I'm not doing that. He hangs up on him and go. Like, Batman is like, I'm not doing that. That's stupid.
I would be Batman in that scene.
But Wonder Woman, Superman, Flash, all them go turn, like, because he's the leader and they trust him and he trusts people, even though he probably shouldn't. And he does it again in that movie. I think James Gunn's whole point here is, I want you to see how different they are. I want you to see how different their circumstances are. I want you to see how different their mindsets are. But by the end of it, I do believe, I think her name's Kara?
I don't know.
LL? I don't know. I think she will have a pivot of train of thought, belief, heart, whatever you want to call it. Her ideology will change. And I think you will see her dealing with some heavy stuff in the movie. He started doing a lot of that in the Guardians movies with like Star-Lord, was dealing with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But he never really got to like finish all that because he kind of had to wrap it up in 3 because Marvel's stupid. But anyway, so yeah, I'm holding out hope more for what I believe James Gunn is about than what I believe that character's about. And I'm not going to put all the weight of the world on her teaser trailer is all I'm saying. I'm holding out until I see a full-length trailer, and I stand on, I think when we see that, one of us will probably change our opinion like completely to either be like, okay, I'm intrigued, or okay, I'm sold on it's not going to be good.
We'll see.
So lastly, we waited, anticipated, and debated for a long time. I have been anxiously awaiting the arrival of...
And that's our show today, guys.
We'll catch you next time. Tune into episode 25. Doomsday is upon us, or at least the beginning of it. We have heard countless rumors, seen a bajillion AI leaked photos or leaked versions of trailers or fake movie synopses and all kinds of stuff. And we've pushed through all of it. We've talked through a lot of it here on this to get to this point. Disney announced a little while back that in order to attract as much traffic as possible to the new Avatar Fire and Ash film, that they were going to attach to it the first official trailer, granted teaser, but trailer, for Avengers Doomsday. And as soon as that news broke, officially broke, everyone, things went wild. There were talks about them having like 20 different cuts of the trailer. They were trying to get the perfect one together. We started hearing about, it's going to be pretty heavily Doom-centric. You know, we're going to hear we might hear his voice. We're going to see his face. It's going to have a big scar on it. It's going to be clips of him fighting this person or that person. Then, as time got closer for the actual movie to come out, the story changed. The story became, so here's what they're actually going to do. They're going to have 4 different trailers, one for each of the first 4 weeks that Avatar runs in theaters. And each trailer will be different. You will see one version this week, so on and so forth. And one would be more focused on like the X-Men story coming into Doomsday. And one would be more focused on like the Avengers, like probably the Sam Wilson Avengers. And then one would be more focused on like the Fantastic Four and maybe the Thunderbolts. Somewhere in there they would be probably looped in with one of those groups. And that the 4th version of the trailer was going to be kind of the official overall teaser trailer for the movie. That was going to be the more Doom-centric trailer that features a lot more of him, probably in costume. Maybe you may or may not hear him, may or may not see his face, but all that good stuff. And then the file got sent out to theaters. There was a trailer attached to it. Screenshots of that were leaking. And then the trailer leaks. like 2 days, 3 days before the movie hits theaters. And there was a lot of speculation on whether or not this was AI because the quality of the first leak was awful. I mean, you could barely see anything. And it was a nothing burger.
It was absolutely nothing.
It made no sense. And I told you, I said, I think it's got to be fake.
I thought so too when I saw it. I was like, there's no way that's all they put out.
And the fact that I didn't see it really getting taken down anywhere, it was up on Twitter all day. I was like, nah, this is okay. We're good. This is not the teaser. Avatar is in theaters. I have seen multiple Twitter videos from cell phones recording a theater screen showing the first official Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer. And let me tell you, folks, for those of you who may be listening to this who somehow do not know, it is real. It is real, and it is probably the most disappointing moment for the MCU as a whole, for me, ever.
Yeah. Me too, probably.
I walked out of Doomsday Endgame feeling better than I do about this trailer. I walked out of Quantumania feeling better about the MCU than I do this trailer. And I have so much to say about it. And I have... The optimist in me still has positive things or like hopes. But the realist in me has so much to say about it. But before I go into rant mode, Daniel, I'm going to let you describe this teaser. What do we see?
Well, if you can imagine a heaping, steaming pile of garbage, and then Crypto the Superdog on top of it, peeing and defecating. All it is it shows Steve Rogers showing up to his house that he was at the end of Endgame with holding a baby. He's got a son, which I'm like, is that supposed to be a big deal for us? Like, that's the last thing I cared about right now. I thought at least we would get just a shot of Doom. Like, even if they had shown, like, after seeing him with the baby, shown Doom walking toward the house, at least that would have been something.
Yeah.
It still would have been a disappointment. But it's almost like they went out of their way to disappoint us. It's so bad. I don't know how they could have thought this would please anybody.
I think they saw all of the hype on social media about the rumors that there was going to be a second chair casting live stream announcement video event. And they said, we'll do you one better.
Oh my gosh.
We'll show you some new cast announcements with the teasers. Because here is what appears to be the actual marketing technique for this movie. There will be 4 trailers. That part so far appears to be true. 2 have leaked. Well, 1 is out now officially, but had leaked.
Another one leaked? I haven't seen the second. Oh, the Thor one. Yeah.
The first one was this Captain America one announcing, technically saying Steve Rogers will return in Doomsday. Now, I say that because some people think that's significant.
They think it's Hydra Cap.
And I'm going to tell you, well, not even that, but that he might not be Captain America in the movie at all, which to me implies he dies in that scene. And if that's the case, and your first tease of this movie, and I'm not even counting post-credit scenes from Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts. I know they're in the movie. I don't care. That doesn't count. If our first real tease of this movie is you showing us a character from a scene near the beginning of the movie where he then immediately dies, that makes this even dumber. It makes it even worse. I don't care if he returns for 30 seconds to die. That's basically a cameo. He's not a cast member at that point.
Yeah.
That's really dumb. We'll get more into it. The second one will be, like you just said, the Thor one. Now, here's what I will say about the Thor one. I have something saved about that.
I haven't seen it yet.
So I haven't seen what I think is an official. I've seen one that I think could be the official version of it. And I'm going to turn my volume down and show you. I think this is the official version. And it's literally just him walking through the woods with his axe, Stormbreaker. He's got his cape on. I'm just describing this for the audio people and I guess YouTube, since we're not showing this because we can't. He's got his short hair. So for all those images with him with the long hair again, I don't think that's true. But he's walking through the woods, and he basically kneels down at some kind of stone with a rune on it. And the whole time there is this audio playing over it.
That was it?
Yeah, basically. But the important part of this for me is that I hated Love and Thunder. I thought Ragnarok and Infinity War, both of those, were kind of Thor at his best in the MCU.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think Taika Waititi and Hemsworth, I mean, I think he played a part in it, took the nuttiness, the dumbness, the silliness, and cranked it up to 15 in Love and Thunder, and it just didn't work for me. And it does sound like they've heard that. Hemsworth has heard that, and it sounds like we're getting a Thor with some gravity to him back. And I will say the Russo brothers have always done a good job at handling Thor, other than I didn't like some things in Endgame, but that's a whole other thing. So this is the dialogue from the supposed leaked trailer. Again, all of this is speculative until the actual trailer comes out, but this appears to be real. He says, "Of all the crowns, the kingdoms, the pride, I ask for none. Father, hear your son. I am not worthy of life, but still I beg you to let the thread lengthen. Not for thunder, not for war. Let me remain long enough to see my love once more." That wasn't supposed to sound like a poem, but he says it with a little bit different cadence. But the point is, he's praying to Odin to let him live through whatever he's going through in the movie. Love, obviously the name of his daughter from Love and Thunder. He's trying to get back to her alive. So here's where the positive part of me kicks in. There does seem to be a pattern here. What did we see in Fantastic Four? The post-credit scene is Dr. Doom, our first glimpse of him, and what's he doing? He's going to Franklin Richards, a child. Then we get our first teaser with Steve Rogers. What's he holding? A child.
Oh.
Then we see the next one is Thor praying to get back to what? His child. Something is going on here with the theme of these heroes having kids and Doom popping up. I don't know what. And there's been a lot of speculation that a line in Endgame that Tony Stark says is going to be extremely important come Doomsday, which is after they snap all the people back, after they've traveled through time, he tells Captain America, "You mess with time, it tends to mess back. I'll show you."
Whoa.
Or no, not I'll show you. You'll see. I don't know why I said
Yeah.
I'll show you. You'll see. Heavy implications, especially with what we're going into.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've announced they're going to put Endgame back in theaters leading up to Doomsday. There's a lot tying into Doomsday from Endgame, apparently. So there's a positive part of me that sees some patterns forming that's like, okay, they're doing this intentionally. I have to give them that. I have to give them the benefit of the doubt that there's a plan. But like you said, I think you worded it best. This feels so almost like you intentionally wanted to make everyone mad. I don't see what the plan could be. And for all the rumors and everything that I heard that they were filming Doomsday with no script, they were kind of winging it for a long time while they were trying to rush to finish the script. This worries me that there's some truth to that. On the other hand, this is a teaser that's coming out a year before the movie. Technically, you don't typically get teasers that far out for a film, especially one of this size.
My biggest problem with it is the hype. They shouldn't have, and I know that you talked about how they were trying to boost sales to Avatar, the Avatar movie.
Yeah.
Which is just a dumb move. It tells me that you don't... Anyway, they shouldn't have hyped it up so much. They should have just said, you're going to get like a little teaser. It's, it's not going to tell you that much about the story, but there will be a little teaser before it. If they had just come out with that, there wouldn't have been that big of a disappointment. Other than when they first announced it, might have been, we want more than that, but all right.
Yeah,
they hyped it up like it's like your first teaser's coming, and then like you said, there was all these rumors. Oh, we're gonna finally see Doom. We're gonna finally see what's gonna happen. Yeah, I'm a psycho.
I know what I'm about to say is obvious, and I know I'm telling you something you already know, but I'm gonna say it anyway. They would never do that. They would. The whole point of this was they're using the hype to sell tickets to Avatar, which is why I bet you if you went on YouTube right now. Avatar has been in theaters when we're recording this for a day and a half already. I bet you if I went on YouTube right now, I couldn't find an official version of that teaser trailer. They don't want it online. They want you to have to go see the movie to see this trailer. They want you to go multiple times, which is why they're going to change it out every week.
Yeah.
Personally, again, two sides of me. The logical side of my brain is like, no, I totally get it. And it's going to work. I know people that I work with that bought tickets to this movie just to go see the teaser trailer. I mean, they're obviously going to stay for the movie, but like if it had
have you encouraged them to get any help?
No, because I would do it if I thought that I was going to get a legitimate taste of Doomsday.
Sure, yeah,
I might would have went and did that. I mean, it doesn't hurt that also my wife is a huge fan of those Avatar movies, and we're going to go see it anyway. At some point, but I can't sit here and say I had a feeling something like this was going to happen because I had all these thoughts and expectations and speculations of what the trailer would be, but I'll tell you what I did think. I did think we'd get it online, so I wasn't too worried about going day one to see it, and I wasn't too worried about the trailer changing each week because I was like, well, they're going to put it online. They always do. It'd be stupid not to because it's going to leak, and it has. And it has. It leaked before the movie came out. So I don't know what's going on at Marvel, by the way, but a lot leaked this week. You got the Chris Evans Doomsday tease. You got the Thor Doomsday tease. We got part of the Doomsday soundtrack, the X-Men theme from it. And we got the Spider-Man Brand New Day, the full trailer, granted in 2 parts. But if you found both parts of the video, you got the full Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. And that one is a full trailer. That one has got to be coming out soon. There's a lot of rumors they're giving it to us Christmas Day because the official Sony account tweeted out a few days ago, all I want for Christmas is, and they put like Tom Holland Spider-Man clips on the tweet. So there's a lot of rumors that we're getting it for Christmas, and then obviously the other big one is that it'll probably come in a couple months for the Super Bowl. So here's the thing. I think the Super Bowl could be what Marvel's looking at anyway to give us, they could have 2 of the biggest commercials of the Super Bowl and have the biggest audience to see it if they put out the official Doomsday teaser in the Super Bowl and the official Brand New Day trailer in the Super Bowl. And if you do that, you'll only be, 3 or 4 months away from Brand New Day coming out and about 9 or 10 months away from Doomsday. That timeline makes sense. That timeline makes a lot of sense.
Ever the optimist.
They'll have something for the Super Bowl. With all these movies coming out, there's no way they don't have something for the Super Bowl.
They'll have something. They'll probably just replay the Captain America one.
See, I don't think so because I'm
just being pessimistic. Like I don't actually believe that. Being ridiculously pessimistic just to counterbalance because people are getting too happy. You're giving them too much hope right now.
I thought you meant like actually in general.
No,
I was like, no, I don't think so. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think a lot of people are actually okay with this trailer, and that bothers me too.
Yeah, that bothers. I can't do words today.
People. You deserve better.
Yes.
Like, I'm a huge fan myself. You can ask him. I'm a Marvel apologist at my core. I will argue till the cows come home about bad Marvel or like subpar Marvel movies and shows. You deserve better. This is lame.
Yeah,
this is lame. It's lame and it's a huge cash grab. And in the lamest way, it's a cash grab.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, not only is Disney trying to rake in your money for Avatar by selling a bad trailer every week, but also they're going to rake in your money by re-putting Endgame back in theaters to lead into another movie you're going to pay them to go see, which is Doomsday.
Yeah.
Like, not to mention, they know they're going to get you with Brand New Day, and they've upped their Disney Plus subscription because Daredevil was so successful, and that's coming out this next year.
Yeah.
By the way, first look of that leaked with Jessica Jones in it.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't like Jessica Jones that much either.
I never watched that show, but I know a lot of people liked it.
Jessica Jones? Really?
It was very popular when it came out. Now, season 2, not as much.
I didn't like any of the other superheroes in the Defenders except for Daredevil.
That's fair. I tried Luke Cage.
Iron Fist was the worst.
Yeah, I never even watched that show because of all the negative talk it got.
He was horrible.
I heard he was like a whiny baby.
Yeah.
And
he calls himself the Immortal Iron Fist. And first off, that is a stupid power.
It's a cool power if it's used correctly.
Power. One fist gets glowy and powerful.
Well, you got to think part of his power set is also that he's just like one of the best combatants in Marvel.
Yeah,
like
then you just Shang-Chi.
I was going to say like Shang-Chi is also the same except he doesn't have the fist.
Yeah, and that's what makes him a better, more interesting. You should have no power. If your power is just martial arts, you should have no power. And I guess he uses the 10 rings now, which that's pretty cool.
I don't like that.
You don't like the 10 rings?
Nah. I liked him fighting without them better.
Okay.
I think he relies more on actual martial arts when he doesn't have those. And when he got them, he just started shooting the rings.
What are you going to do when you get to like a Thanos type threat? I mean, you got to have something other than just martial arts.
Well, then I would say the same thing to you about Iron Fist.
But the 10 rings is a cool power, is what I'm saying.
Well, so is an Iron Fist.
No, it's not. Just a glowy fist. One fist.
It is portrayed terribly.
If your whole body glowed and you turned into an iron person, that would make.
Then
more
he'd be
sense.
Iron Man, and that's taken.
Well, so is Shang-Chi took the martial arts thing anyway.
The Iron Fist is portrayed terribly in that show and in Defenders. But I'm telling you, like, look him up and just look up some stuff. It's cool. It's a cool power.
Okay, Chris.
It's cool. I'm telling you the truth.
You're doing the whole Marvel apologist thing right now.
No, I'm not. I'm not apologizing for that terrible portrayal of that character or that horrible show. Defenders wasn't even good.
I didn't mind Defenders.
No.
Anyway, we're like way past time now, so we gotta.
Basically, here's the thing. Doomsday trailer, no bueno. I need a lot more. Yeah. I need a lot more for me to not be worried about this film. Right now, I'm actually a little worried about this film. Supergirl trailer, I liked for what it was, and I'm going to hold out super harsh judgment until I see a longer trailer. And Spider-Man trailer was fantastic, but I just don't think it's right to talk about that yet until we've seen it in its best of quality because it's an actual trailer. There is some crazy stuff going. There's a scene in there where he has organic webbing, like Toby.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's there. That trailer is nuts.
Wow.
There's a lot going on in that trailer.
I couldn't tell. I tried to watch it. I couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah, it was hard. Someone else had a cleaner version of that. I only know the organic webbing thing because someone else said it. Like they cleaned it up somehow and watched it, but
jeez.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that one. That trailer is going to be fun to break down. But there's nothing to break down in the Doomsday. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you were talking about how the Supergirl trailer, they wouldn't show all of this stuff because that's storytelling. That what you just described is a perfect example in a trailer of him having organic weapons. I mean, organic webbing. Like, that's something that technically you should save for the movie, but they showed it in there to kind of show what's...
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's cool and all, but I kind of wish they wouldn't. Marvel's actually usually really bad about putting way too much in their trailers. Like, Marvel's not a good example for you to use about a good trailer.
But you just said you loved the trailer. You said it was fantastic.
I said there's a lot going on in it. And
you used the organic... You said you loved it. You said it was fantastic.
To me, what I love about that trailer is we're actually getting to see some Spider-Man action. We're seeing him web swing. We're seeing comic covers recreated in the movie. In the trailer, at least. I don't know. Sometimes they cut those scenes out. But in the trailer, it looks really cool. I actually don't know a thing about the story, which I will give them. They didn't tell much about the story. I don't think. It's hard to hear. We'll know when the full thing comes out.
I can hear just fine.
You can hear it?
Right now, yeah.
All right. But no, I mean, there are things I wish Marvel would just keep out of their trailers.
Sure.
For sure. Now, the organic webbing thing, well, that remains to be seen. I don't think that's going to stay. I think that's meant to be like a what? And I don't think it's going to. I think he's going to definitely have web shooters for most of them. I mean, they're on the suit.
Yeah.
So I think that's either a dream sequence or some kind of weird trippy thing going on. Remains to be seen.
We'll see. The point is, Marvel sucks, and that's it.
Yep, and DC's the best. Can't wait for Supergirl.
Chris is really trying to get me to quit.
I am trying to get him to keep ranting. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully next time in a couple weeks, by then I guess we'll be on trailer 3 for Doomsday. Well, actually, it might be longer than that before we can record because I'm leaving.
Because Christmas.
Well, yeah, man, we're going out of town.
Yeah.
Till like January.
Yeah, well,
so it might be a while. By the time we talk again, yeah, there should be plenty more to talk about with Doomsday and maybe even Spider-Man. So hopefully we'll have all that to look forward to. But again, thank you guys for tuning in.
And have a Merry Christmas.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.